So we're back with another box opening video as I continue to hunt for the quote-unquote God box, and I gotta be honest, that first box was awful. So while this series is supposed to be the hunt for the God box, honestly, right now, I'm just hoping for a better box. That first one was pretty lackluster, and I'm actually kind of hoping that we can get through more than one box at a time. Again, I don't want these videos to be too long, but I also just want to open product because I really like the set. So we are going to try to speed through these. I'm going to still try to, narrate things and give you something worth listening to, but we're gonna, I think, pick up the pace for this video and see if we can't get through multiple boxes for this particular opening because, yeah, there's a lot of outsiders left for me to open, and while I want to find a God box, I also just want to see the fun, shiny stuff. So we're gonna slide this box over here to slightly off camera, and then we're just gonna dive right in and see if we can get things right out of the gate. I wonder if I can do like a slide here for the reveal. Like, what happens if I just, let's try something new, gang. I shouldn't be doing this because I just said like I wanted to speed things up, but like, what if I do this to start? Just because that speeds us right back to the rares, right? So like we can already see we got a yellow death touch, we got the spike with inertia. This is a foil piece of mine, not the alt art one, but still pretty solid. And then tokens. So we're gonna throw my tokens here, and then we'll do like rares, foils. Commons can also kind of go down here to the side. We'll put them over here to the side. My setup is still kind of jank, so I apologize. Again, like I don't know why the camera is being a little bit awkward, but that's okay. We can do close-ups when we find something good. All right, let's see if we can do that that spread again, because that was kind of fun. Or at least gets us down to, okay, so gets us down to the rare slot a little bit faster, speed things up maybe a bit. Comments can all go here. So we have a recoil, blue wreck havoc, foil yellow isolate, fisticuffs, tokens. Yeah, I think I like this. I think I like this as far as the speedier open. We'll just do the slide. Now the problem is that again, my camera, normally this particular web camera has really decent autofocus, which is why I traditionally try to use this for my top-down stuff, but right now it's being a little bit goofy. I wonder if it's because of a lighting issue, but there we go. We're back in focus for a bit, and as we slide down, I think I see something good peeking out of the back. No spoilers, but I don't think that looks like a token to me. All right, so we have a red death touch. We have an amnesia. We hit our first majestic, so that's a big win there. We'll go over here. And we have a sneak attack, a foil lace with blood rots. Hard to see, but it looks really good in foil. And it was a cracked bauble. The bauble jebaited me. Oh, I thought we had something good, gang. We got baited by a bauble. All right, well, we slowed that down and we should have just sped through it apparently, but we will keep moving. Fooled, absolutely fooled by a bauble. Need to get better at this kind of like dealer swipe. We do have a hurl, a spinning wheel kick, foil descendant gust wave. This actually looks really good in foil, mind you. Actually quite the fan of that. Mask of many faces and tokens. So far just the one lonely majestic, and I forget what it was, pun intended, har har har. No, it's the amnesia there that you can't see very well because my camera is flipping out again. I don't know what's going on with that. I know I said I wanted to get through multiple boxes, but I might have to pause in between to fix the camera because that's awful. Like, it's fine once it gets a card and then I pull it down because then it knows to, like, okay, that's what I'm looking at. But then for whatever reason, it gets angry a little bit later. So here we have a Humble Red, a Recoil, a Foil Murkmire Grapnel, and then tokens. All right. So that first box we had the one cold foil common equipment. I think it was only 5 total Majestics with 1 being foil. So we're just looking for better than that, which I thought would be pretty easy to do, but maybe I was wrong. Hey, we get to a second Majestic. See, you just gotta talk some trash and things show up. So we have a Barbed Undertow. Then a Lace with Inertia. I think this is a foil yellow Iraq Havoc, which is looking kind of nice. I dig it. And then a Seeker's Mitts and tokens. But we did at least get our second Majestic here in the Barbed Undertow that we'll just place over there. We'll just keep moving. Like I said, I want to try to get through a chunk of product here. I guess if I'm going to be doing more box openings, maybe what I should be doing is saying like, hey, give me stuff to talk about while I'm filming these. You know, send me questions. We'll do like an AMA box opening style. Guess I could also ask y'all questions like how much you love Codex of Frailty. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. We hit our first legendary of the set. Now this is Rainbow Foil. Quiver of Abyssal Depths, or as I call it, the Cthulhu Quiver. But we will take it. So that is a legend in what would normally have been the Rainbow Foil common slot. So no notes on whether or not this is going to be a juiced box yet or not. I feel like the answer is no, or we would have been running into them more often, but I don't actually know what the ratios are. So nonetheless, that is our first legend from the set. Happy to hit that. I do really like the art on that. The art on that alone kind of makes me want to play Ranger, even though that sounds like a nightmare, because that's for like when you're playing against Fatigue, that particular quiver. So it's like, you know, maybe that's why they made the Cthulhu quiver the one that shuffles stuff back in, because it's the madness inducing quiver. All right, so we have Infectious Host, followed by a foil Spire Sniping. Make sure I didn't miss a rare there. I think this is one of those 1 rare packs. Toxic Tips into a couple of tokens. Toxic Tips, I posted on Twitter. Toxic Tips is what I give out whenever people ask me for deck building advice. You know, not because I'm saying you should run Toxic Tips, but just because all the tips I give are toxic, because they're usually like, run Pummel, run something that makes your opponent discard. That's my favorite thing to do in Flesh and Blood, to make my opponent discard. Well, my favorite thing to do is win, but as far as like game actions go, it's make people discard. There's just something very satisfying when you already have a 4-card hand. It's like the reverse of Uno. In Uno, it's like making people draw cards feels good, you know, the old draw 4. But when you have a 4-card hand in a game like Flesh and Blood, making somebody discard is where it's at. So foil red Plunge. And then more shenanigans. So no cold foil yet. But again, we have hit our first legendary. So I think it's safe to say as we're approaching the halfway point of this box that this is not one of the juiced boxes, but it's already better than the last box. So again, we'll take the victory where we can. Oh, we had a rare pretty early. This might be a multi-rare pack. So we have the Toxicity along with a red Death Touch. This would have been a juiced pack for sealed. Red Fletch. Back heel kick, which looks really good in foil. Again, I wish this camera would do it justice, but the foiling is like both on the wind and in the background, which makes it really pop. And then nothing else exciting, but this would have been a really good sealed pack. It's so weird, right? Because I feel like in draft, you actually want the like 1 rare packs because you can just take whatever the best thing is and then pass the junk, right? Your pack 1, pick 1. If it's a good rare, you just take that. But then in sealed, you want like the 3 rare packs. So I don't know. Feels a little bit weird to me, but. All right, let's hop down to the first rare is going to be an Infectious Host, followed by a foil Destructive Deliberation, and then no Es Bueno. So this would have been the draft pack that you want, because again, just the 1 rare, so that you can take, well, in this case, you probably don't even take the Infectious Host. Like, I'm a fan of the card, but not taking a blue pack 1, pick 1 like that. No, thank you. I mean, unless, I don't know, unless you're already like deep into Katsu or Benji and it was the only, I didn't look through the rest of it, obviously, but like if it's the only blue pitch 0 cost, then maybe there's some merit to it, but I just feel like there's probably better options in there, even though I didn't look. Hey, look, Spire Sniping, Short and Sharp. All right, Bonds of Ancestry, followed by a foil Majestic Give and Take. Now, this actually looks really good in foil. My glare from my ring light's going to make it hard to see, but I actually really like this. I'm also just a big fan of this card in general. Like I really like Give and Take. I think that it creates some interesting decisions for your opponent, while also just being like, so, you know, a 1 for 3 go again isn't like the best rate, but it does make them not really want to block it. So that part's awkward. And then if they do block it, you're potentially getting some of your, you know, better cards back. But also it blocks for 3, right? In a generic slot. So it's a card that I think I'm constantly considering as I'm deck building different things. I don't know that I've found a deck where I think it makes the cut quite yet, but I do like the card in principle, right? It's something that, it's one of those cards that I think you kind of like put in the back of your mind and that you're always like saying, okay, is this the right time? I think it's probably a meta dependent choice, and just like right now, it's actually weird because we just went through a meta where fatigue decks were actually incredibly popular, and so in that case I think that it would have been potentially a really good call. But now we're seeing a rise in, like, traditionally anyway, less popular decks are becoming more popular. So obviously Azalea was a big winner from this set, but Dromai is seeing a lot of representation where, you know, in past metas, the kind of go-to deck was Fi in terms of raw numbers. So I don't know. If we see a bunch of Oldhim and Icelanders come back, then I think Give and Take could have a place. All right, so we have a Bleed Out. Another Infectious Host, followed by a red Infect foil. Also looks really good. Very playable. I like getting all these foil stealth cards just because I think that, you know, it's going to be fun to like build a commoner Arachne deck, for example. Commoner Arachne, and then just make it all foil. Also, I think that's something worth talking about, though I think we're going to mention it on the podcast at some point here as well. But there were some updates to the deck building rules for the commoner format that was allowing you to, I think it was include rare equipment. So that has the potential to really change some deck building choices. And we finally hit another Majestic here. So we get a Concealed Blade. Happy to see that. Certainly playable. Followed with, we have a foil Sneak Attack in blue. So we're up to 4 Majestics and a Legendary, which is, again, already better than the last box. Now, we have not yet hit a cold foil, so we're still holding out hope, but I do know that, you know, there are boxes that will not have a cold foil. In fact, at the Chicago Brawl, we had the one that had no cold foil, but did have the Legendary, and so we hit another Majestic here. We have a Knives Out. This card was directed by Ryan Johnson. Yuck. Place with Bloodrot. Foil yellow Bonds of Ancestry. And then Blade Cuff and tokens. But we are at 5 total Majestics, which is what we got out of all of the last box, along with our Rainbow Foil Legend. And I think we got like 6 packs left, roughly. It's kind of hard to tell in the box, and I don't have them all counted out here, but just gonna kind of speed through some of these until we get to the Fletch a Yellowtail. Lace with Bloodrot. Now this is a foil, but rainbow foil Silken Gi. Actually looks really good in rainbow foil. And then a Fisticuffs and tokens. Just trying to separate all this stuff out just because I like to have all of the tokens easily accessible for when you need to donate them to an LGS. Bring them with you if you're going to a sealed event so you don't have to ask around, yada, yada, yada. All right. So we're going to speed through to our first rare, which will be blue looking for scrap. Followed by Lace with Frailty. A yellow Sedation Shot. It's pretty okay in foil. And then common equipment tokens. So I don't know. We might have already hit the cap. Our last box was 5 Majestics and a cold foil, and so if this rainbow foil legend ends up being the end. All right, how many packs do we got? Now we're down to 6 packs. So before I must have been at the 8 spot. 6 packs left. So let's see if we can hit something else. Ideally a cold foil, because again, we just haven't seen one yet, but I think it's very apparent at this point. No God box this time around. So we hit another Majestic here. Let's slide it up so we can see. This is a Down and Dirty. This is the card that I think might end up making its way into sideboards more and more, because if the Brawl is an indication of what the meta is going to be like going forward, or at least for a while, Down and Dirty is something that you can jam into your arsenal in response to Codex and then still use it to block. It's obviously not like the best play, but it's not awful. And then because it also has 6 attack, it's good in the Dromai matchup. And since Azalea and Dromai were the 2 most popular decks in Chicago, I think there's some merit to at least testing this out. But we do get to a 6th Majestic. Then we have a foil rare, a Boulder Trap, and no cold foil though. 5 packs to go. Still coming out ahead compared to the last box, but all right, so Recoil ends up being our first rare. Then we have a foil Destructive Deliberation. I know I said it, I think, in the last video, but I think that card looks really cool. Makes me a bit sad that it's mostly a limited card, at least right now, just because it just has really good art, you know? I think the thing that's going to hold it back the most is that the red only swings for 5, and so you can't use it even like a sideboard tech as a popper, whereas, you know, Down and Dirty would fill that role. So, I don't know. All right, we'll slide these up so that we can actually see. They keep creeping closer and closer to me, which is not helpful for you to see. So we have a Bleed Out, we have a Backstab, and then we have the blue Spire Sniping, the card that ultimately was used to ensure that Brody was winning the event. And then sadly, common and tokens. We're getting down to the wire, gang, I think. As I said before, this is going to be a no cold foil box. Only 3 packs left. But that's okay, because we're still better than yesterday, even without the cold foil, because yesterday's cold foil was just straight up not good. All right, so we're down to a Death Touch. Uh-oh. I don't know if you can see it, gang, but this right here, this is the peak of the cold foil. So we did hit a cold foil. Don't know what it is, but we know that it exists. So we have a Death Touch. We have a Spike with Inertia. We have a Sedate. Threadbare Tunic. And Threadbare Tunic. Okay, well, the cold foil was... You know, honestly, I'm going to be honest. This looks really good in cold foil. This camera is not doing it justice. So, do I wish it was a better cold foil? Absolutely. But at least we pulled one. But also, again, if you're trying to live your rock dreams, right? Maybe that's the way to do it. All right, 2 packs left. I think we've probably hit everything that's worth mentioning in this because we're already at 6 Majestics. Last box was only 5. We've hit our cold foil and we hit a rainbow foil legendary. So the likelihood that we hit anything else, just based on that first box, seems pretty low. But, you know, this is one of those cases where, like, I hope I'm wrong. Just trying to set proper expectations. We'll hop down to our first rare, which is another Death Touch here. And then we get a Spike with Frailty. Foil Be Like Water. Again, solid, like, commoner, build something fun. And then common equipment and tokens. Last pack. Last pack for this box. All right. Gonna speed through here. I can already spoil it. Looks like it's just tokens at the end. But again, we kind of expected that. Spinning Wheel Kick, Wreck Havoc, a foil yellow brush off, Toxic Tips, aka what I give when I'm deck building, and then some tokens. So that is it for this box. Man, we're at 23 minutes as of right now. That is still a lot of time to have already had you all sit through this. So if you've made it this far, I genuinely appreciate you. And I think we are going to stop this video here. And we might just have to do this one box at a time because I don't want to make you all sit through like a 2-hour video. So end results. We have 6 Majestics, 1 foil. That was the give and take. Rainbow foil, Quiver of Abyssal Depths, aka the Cthulhu Quiver, and then a cold foil Threadbare Tunic. And yeah, we're still hunting for that God box. Probably not in this case, but we got 2 cases after this, so this is box 2 of 12. So we're gonna keep plowing through it. And if you made it this far, again, I appreciate you. Thank you for watching, and until next time.